Welcome to Grover Load, and let's talk about Intel. I'm sure Intel's feeling left out, for the past coverage here. I skipped their CES stuff. It was just boring. I could have, tried to put something together for Intel, but it's been hard slugging for Intel here, especially on the CPU side. They had some excitement with the GPU side. It's just with it being out of stock, that kind of died down really quick. This is one of the things maybe hopefully AMD will get done is to have some stock of your product to, be able to sell through and have stock coming again if you have a successful product. I mean, even with the 9800X3D, of course, I think some of that, as AMD said, was they expected Intel to be a little bit better at their CPU sides, which, man, I was just looking at a video yesterday by Kit Guru. Great review there of the Intel. Now, he said 104 days after he reviewed it, right? And I was watching Intel come out with they had firmware updates, right? That they said, we're going to make these CPUs better. And so they released these firmware updates. They were very excited about it. They identified the root cause. They identified that they solved it. There was BIOS performance, microcode. I thought even some Windows updates, right? All this stuff to make these processors perform like we believe they should be performing. And after all that was done, it's still, yeah, it's still disappointing. So if you are looking for a processor right now, I consider, just be looking at AMD right now. The Intel side stuff, right? They may have something here eventually. The one problem I have with this 200 series, well, okay, I got a lot of problems with it, but the one thing that we have to look at for these 200 series processors is, like Kikuru said, is this motherboard socket going to be one generation only, or are we going to be able to have this for two generations? If this motherboard socket is only for these 200Ss, you'd be buying into a platform that isn't supported for the next release from Intel, and that is concerning to me. That would be one thing where I'd be very cautious if I was going and building a new platform looking at Intel in hopes that I could maybe put another CPU in the platform and continue, longevity of it. And I do like to upgrade a CPU, between platforms. I like to get another cycle out of it. So that's one thing that would be important to my decision making. Right now, even with AM5, AMD has said that it's going to be through 2026, right? At least maybe 2027, something like that. So you get at least something else out of this cycle of processors from or from motherboards from AMD, which I think is important to have, especially if you can get if you buy like a 5090 or something where you're playing in an area where that may be CPU bound a little bit. You'll have another generation to be able to use that rather than going and getting a new motherboard, a new CPU, new memory, and which can add up in cost. So there is that side to it, which I'm glad Intel came out and addressed with these root causes and everything else and try to make it better. But the disappointment of it not hitting there, right? I was looking at the prices of these processors too right now, and let me pull that up quick. I know I had it up someplace, or I thought I did. Maybe I closed it. No, so the Core Ultra 9 285K, that's still 600 bucks. And if you're a gamer, the 14900K still ties it in areas. But why wouldn't you just then get the 9800X3D? So if you're on, an Intel platform, hopefully you're on the, 13th, 14th, or 12th gen platform there. Why don't you just keep that platform as it goes? If you have a 14900K, you can keep that. If you're on AMD and you're looking for the best, gaming processor out there, the 9800X3D is going to be your choice. And then it gets kind of interesting here because the Ultra 7 265 on Newegg right now is actually um, sitting at $371. They got $48 off of it, which is a little bit more reasonable, right? You have the Ultra 5 245K at 319, so just taking a look at that, right? You're only about what is it, $52 more, and you get that Ultra 7 from the Ultra 5, which I'm really curious that Intel has dropped the price there a little bit for people. So if you really, really just, I'm getting this platform no matter what, your sweet spot there right now for pricing would be that i7 or i7. Oh my gosh, Ultra 7. Intel changed everything, and my names are just going nowhere. But my hope is, and if you've been watching the channel for a while, is my hope is I like competition. I want better products for consumers, right? The most important thing to me is that we get better products, we get better performance, and we get to enjoy tech and have some excitement in tech. That's what I like to see. That's what I want. I would like to have as many machines as possible, many different motherboards, because I'd like to see that tech in many different ways. Because I think it's fun to kind of go around and play with it. Fun to have people have options and to be able to compare and enjoy and really like the tech that they're with. And right now, with kind of the market that we're in, we got NVIDIA on the high-end graphics. We have AMD on the best gaming CPU. We have Intel on low-on stuff with good prices if it's in stock at the MSRP. We have AMD that might be going into mid-range on GPUs. There's no really across the board, you know, let's compete across the board with CPUs of AMD and Intel. They're neck and neck in areas. You get the difference in pricing to be able to choose which one is actually better. That's the fun part about, especially desktop building and tech, is that you kind of get those things where we don't have that right now. And it's really disappointing. You know, Intel going through, they had the quarterly report, right? They just went through their earnings. And one thing they said that Panther Lake is going to be out the second half of this year. And it'll be, Intel 18A, stuff like this, which that's great. And is it going to be December and it's just a, paper launch? I think that, sometimes they say things for investors and that side of things. And then there's the other side of they actually, what's actually going to happen. We're going to launch this and we're actually going to have product on the shelves and people be able to buy it is a whole different scenario. They also talked about Nova Lake a little bit in 2026. So they're going to have that out, the next generation family for PC is going to be there as well. They say across the entire PC stack. They kind of mentioned that Panther Lake, is going to be out there in production for second half. And we'll see how this all is. They even canceled Falcon Shores. So there's still some rocky waters here for Intel. And can they get through this? Can they get over the hump? There's a lot of things that could a company fold on there? Yes, and I think that there's a natural business cycle of things. But I think that there's, what we saw from AMD is that all it takes is a good swing, a or a competitor that is sitting on its hands, which I don't think necessarily AMD is, but I think AMD has ran into some of its own issues, well, however small they may be. We've seen some delays and stuff like this from AMD, from the rumors. So all Intel needs, or all a company needs, is to get over that hump, get something out that creates some momentum, and then all of a sudden they're going to be able to have a opportunity to really get um, customer base back, get some, excitement back into the industry on their side, and we'll see if what they can do. I really hope that Intel does something and gets more products. I like a better GPU from them too. Do I think that's going to happen? No, not right now, but I think that there is an opportunity there for it. So we'll see where this all goes. I want to just take a few minutes here and just talk about Intel because I feel like they've been kind of just, we've been at NVIDIA and everything else lately and nothing, going through for actually Intel. And that's kind of sad to see. I remember when Intel was, rolling out stuff all the time and being, of course, it was a lot of four-core stuff, but being the, headline of the industry year after year. And now we are searching for something of Intel to actually get to. Let me know what you're excited about. If you're excited about any of these upcoming products from Intel, what do you want to see from Intel? What do you hope that they're going to be able to accomplish? With that, I want to thank you so much for watching Gray Overload. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon. It really does help with the channel. I do have some affiliate links as well. If you're going to buy something, no cost to you, no extra cost to you, but I get a little kickback, which does actually help out the channel as well. I thank you so much for watching. Until next time, God bless.